O le whaamavinga nei ma le Pacific mo tupe whaamoli Samoa au tapu ai ofisa mo le whaava yaso whaonga nei lona wa unanga whaua o le direct transfer a whai o yesa membership card ma e whaonga internet banking o le matua i whai mo fia lava na le tiposi me lava lo se leni matu account o le whaatila fuli na lo se leni mo ai Samoa e inga i tahu na whaamaleina mo nisi whaamatalanga i le nei au unanga fau Bala au le telefoni o valselau o tasi o nono po le lua fitu ono fitu iwa fitu fa. Pe text mai fo ilo suafa i le valu tolu o.
Telephone voucher is one of the most convenient ways that I'm finding now to do my shopping here at Farmer Joe, and my sister just sent through the voucher on my cell phone, and I just come straight to Farmer Joe to do my shopping.
Ole si tulanga pitusili o le tau. Ole lafo me o le pepa tala o loa. Ona whaanga le whaatau o loa e au ngā mo le ainga.
I think it's really convenient for families overseas if they don't know how to help their families here. Then this is the perfect way.
Mai ai le sa suma fua tau e le sia sa.
Le fia foi sa we mo mawina le foi au ngā fo e ala mai le tala for voucher. Le wana whaatau ma me te mga oi ile voucher.
Tai mo le tala pa voucher ua maua le apususi o se wa fine. So se paro loa fai mo fie a me se le te whelua i mana o telefoni tai mi uma. Ai lo le lafo me le cash o na inu e lor tamao le ainga.
Whaatea tu lava le tala for voucher mo le foi au ngā fo whaatai. Ma loa lava le taumpai.
Tai tala pa voucher. Teki tala pa voucher.
Do you laugh? Yeah. Whakalawhalahi atu, and a warm Pacific greetings to you all. Ko hingoa o Pea, ma fola nā kai akwe. How are you? Look, my name is Pea and this is Claudia, the beautiful Claudia, and welcome to BluTable Talanoa for your Monday afternoon. It's a show that lives and breathes Pacific and laughs Pacific too. Look, it is a show showcasing many stories and experiences of our proud and colourful communities. Ma fola nei kai o a koe.
I am doing very good. And to be honest, guys, I'm feeling
a little bit nervous right now because I'm sitting next to a very, very famous person that went viral over the weekend. And if you guys haven't already seen the video, on Saturday, we were out over the shore. We were in Beach Haven for Super Vax Saturday, and we were interviewing some people that were, driving in to get vaccinated. And we did an interview with Bronson. And do you want to give us like a little preview of why?
Seriously, I had no idea. It was actually quite funny. Apparently the laugh was hilarious and it was contagious, and we've had a few comments actually come through saying that they needed that is it hyena laugh? They compared it to. It was crazy. Look, before we talk about the viral video, man, happy Niuean.
Famous people problems. They can't pronounce Niuean anymore. But guys, happy Niuean Language Week. The theme for this week is May the Tagata Niue thrive.
Yeah. I'm going to give it a go in the Niuean language. Kia Tupuolaola e Moui he Tagata Niue, and it is May the Tagata Niue thrive. And look, I'm going to maybe give Claudia a go with the word of the day.
No, we did not discuss this.
I'm just thinking, should we put her on the spot today?
It's what famous people do too, apparently. Okay, so the Niuean word for the day is Fulumelie.
Yes.
Fulumelie, which is to be kind.
To be kind.
So let's be kind to Claudia today, Pea.
Let's be kind to everyone. We are just over now 2 months in lockdown, and at first I was feeling a little, and I know everyone's feeling a little. But after the weekend, my goodness, Bronson really set me up on that one, didn't he?
But let's talk about it a little bit, because that video went viral.
I know. It was it was crazy. I didn't even think it was. Well, actually, I did think it was funny because I laughed.
Well, we all thought it was really funny. I mean, I'm going to say I was the one that was taking the video.
Yes.
And I was a little bit concerned because I thought there was something wrong with him. But Pea just couldn't help but laugh. And her laugh got that video 490,000
views. Yeah, and it's apparently still climbing. I think now it's gone over 500K.
89.3 thousand reactions with 4,047 shares on TikTok. Bears, is that on your Facebook page?
Well, no, actually, that was so on TikTok. I just loaded it just randomly after, and it was 77K views with 9,194 reactions.
How does it feel to know that there is potentially more than 500,000 people that have seen that video?
Do you know what? I do want to make a shout out to Naughty Dragons NZ, who honestly, he messaged me on Instagram and said, "Oh my gosh, that is life." And I said, "Oh yeah, just an interview with Bronson." And I mentioned Mina was on there, and he goes, "Oh, where do you find this video?" And I said, "Oh, the full interview is on BLU TV. So if you want to watch the full interview, it is on BLU TV." And we were out in North Shore Beach Haven. But he just couldn't believe that I laughed. And I said, well, when you go back and watch it, because the beautiful Claudia actually filmed it, so I VC credit to this girl. But I'm explaining to Claudia today, I remember Claudia's reaction was like, "I'm confused, what's going on?" But if you watch the video again, it's only a second where I don't even look concerned, which is I'm terrible. What a terrible person.
Pea, can you give our viewers a little demonstration of what that laugh was like?
Honestly, I can't.
Or should I kind of do the Bronson and do the?
Oh my gosh. You have to watch the video. You really do. And this is in no way. I'm not trying to. I'm not trying to scare those who are trying to get vaccinated. No, you have to watch the full Blue TV interview with Pea and Claudia that happened on Saturday, in order for you to actually realize it was, I can't
Honestly,
explain it.
It's amazing. It will definitely warm up your soul.
Oh,
Guys, as you can tell, it was a very riveting weekend for us. We were present at the Vax drive-through in Beach Haven on Saturday.
yes.
We have some photos.
Now, I don't think we've got photos of the Vax. We don't have any photos, but they are available on Blue TV. But I do want to make a quick shout out to, of course, Bronson, who pulled that head stunt on us on Saturday, and a shout out to the North Shore Beach Haven Tutu Atasi vaccination drive-through team. Also, we had the honour of meeting MP of the North Shore, Shannon, and how was the interview for you?
It was good, and he did mention that he was very, very good behind the barbecue, and Bea got to eat one of his sausages.
Yeah, it was. It was actually really, really awesome, right? But, you know, it's just to everyone that supported Super Saturday, the community, groups like Scopa. So a massive shout out to the Scopa team, and also to ASA Foundation, and of course to Lorenzo and Ella from 531 PI Samoa. They were awesome. We teamed up with the team, collaborated, and of course we do collaborate to ensure that we bring the community the best of whatever we can offer to serve our community. So no, I had so much fun.
And do you know who else was really awesome?
Who?
The brother Lani Alo.
Oh my
man,
goodness.
I can never get over his amazing voice.
Oh, he, you know, as always, he blew us away with his God-given talents. We had so much fun. The vibe was awesome. Everyone that was sign waving. We had Albert. We met Albert over the weekend. Some amazing people. We also had the pleasure of meeting Maria Lafayette as well. It was awesome. It was such an awesome Saturday where we got to meet so many awesome people who are out there just trying to do what they can to serve their community. But look, well done. It looks like they've met the target, but if you are still wanting to get vaccinated, there is a drive-through happening right now where you get to go into the draw to win $5,000. That is right next door to us.
Seriously?
Next door, Pack and Save, Manukau, Cavendish Drive. Head over there now. If you are still kind of worried, please just come down, come through. It is a vaccination bus, I believe. But for more information, you can head over to Lorenzo, Pacific Health, Talanoa Lorenzo, with Lorenzo, his page. All the information is available on there as well. Local doctors. Otherwise, it's right here next door to us.
5,000.
I think they've got two. Is it?
5,000.
Maybe, I might be wrong. Just going through and check.
Imagine how much KFC you can buy with 5,000.
5,000 is a lot of money during lockdown, but it's an awesome initiative. Look, guys, head over next door. But otherwise, how was your weekend afterwards? Because I had a pretty wicked weekend.
You know what? My weekend was great. You know, Saturday was nice and sunny, but other than that, I was in lockdown, so there's not much to report. But
I've got a little something that I wanted to report with regards to a local small business that I supported over the weekend. Two boys from Samoa. Oh, such a blessing. They blessed me with some koko Samoa from Samoa. So we've got the photos here that Lemo and Ryan is going to post up. And how adorable are they? Look at that. So these are the boys who are, I'm going to call them the CEO of MW Harvest Treats from Samoa. And this is their small business. So what they do is they help their mum and dad with the koko.
I think that's so cute. Because
It's so adorable.
At that age, I think I was just making mud.
Exactly, but here the boys are just helping their parents' family business. And if you do want to purchase more, you can head over to MW Harvest Treats on Facebook to order just the fresh goods from Samoa. It's something that we all crave. But there you go, koko and masipopo is what I purchased, and of course the famous Samoan puru. But yeah. But yeah, thank you. It was such an awesome weekend getting treats.
And here we are now. I'm sitting next to a TikTok famous personality. But guys, we are going to go into a short break, and then in honor of Niuean Language Week.
There we go with the bloopers.
In honor of Niuean Language Week, we do have a very special Niuean guest. It was actually the very first Pacific business in the internet service provider industry. So very excited to get him on board. But we are going to go into a quick break.
Stay tuned, guys.
Whakalowelahi atu, koe hingoa haku ko Heidi Poimatangi, hauau I Nusilani. Koe a langa kupu mai aho, toka falu mena mo pale tua, leave something aside for the future.
Whakalowelahi atu, koe hingoa haku ko Esther Poimatangi, hauau I utalo mo tuapa. Koe kupu mai aho, fulumelie, which means to be kind, fulumelie.
Tau tua ma le au nanga remote tau sa mo service station nei tona I maki. Ma tau te utuina lo ta vale, ma le tele onisi o mato au nanga ese ese. Ai le ngata foile, ma tau te sea ke ina fo ilo ta vale. Siapa lah yang voice wow, mau lah ucapan. Apa itu yang baik Pak Olusa? Awalnya telepon, matu siapa lah yang voice mau lah ucapan. Mulu no posilah dia, mua tapi lah ucapan lebih out. Mua tapi lah telepon ni time out ina lah ucapan. Malah bayang mulu. Mana tua fu? Matua I pasa ina, lo tau maktapa ai no fuanga papengi. Ota Samoa, ore mota mo Samoa. Mado te fia au na pe mo o Samoa. Aftaile fia mai. We'll see you again. God bless.
Voucher is one of the most convenient ways that I'm finding now to do my shopping here at Farmer Joe, and my sister just sent through the voucher on my cell phone, and I just come straight here to Farmer Joe to do my shopping.
Ole si tulanga pitusili ole tau. Ole la fo me ole pepa tala olo. Ona fa ngale fa tau I olo e au nga mo ainga.
I think it's really convenient for families overseas if they don't know how to help their families here. Then this is the perfect way.
Mai ele sa so fu tau ele sia sa.
Le fia foi sa we mo mawina le foi au nang fo ala mai le talo for voucher. Ila wana fa tau ma me te mga oi. Ile voucher.
Dai mo le talo pa voucher. Ua mau ele apususio se wa fine. So se paro loa fa ngo fie. A me se le tferwa I malo telefoni. Tai mi uma. Ai lo la fo merkes ona ino dor tama ore ainga.
Pa te tu la vale tal for voucher mo le foi au nang fo pa tai. Ma lo la le tam pai.
Pa tai talo pa voucher. Teki talo pa voucher. Teki, talofa vata.
Hello, lava everyone, and welcome back to Pea and Claudia BluTable Podcasts. Today we are celebrating the lovely Niuean Language Week, and I'm here with TikTok famous personality star Pea Simu. If you haven't seen her video already, go to her Instagram, Facebook page. Honestly, you won't regret taking that time out of your day. But we do have on the show today, we have Emani Lui, who is the CEO and founder of MakaNet. Now, MakaNet is the very first Pacific-owned internet service provider in New Zealand. MakaNet has been in the industry for over 20 years, connecting the Pacific community to the world. Now, it is also locally inspired, but globally focused. So, talofa lava, Emani, and thank you so much for joining us on the show today. How are you?
Alofa from Niue, and good to hear from you guys in New Zealand. It's a lovely day, lovely Sunday here in Niue, very humid, a bit of an overcast outlook, mainly fine.
It looks very sunny from where I'm standing.
It's pretty much the same outside as well.
It looks beautiful. Mani, please, do you want to just introduce yourself? I know you are a familiar face to all of us here at the Pacific Business Hub, and also one of our sponsors as well, who has helped and supported the team here at Blue Wave. Just a quick intro of yourself.
E whalawhalea te matamatrainanga, whiawhia ko mai ke whalatahai, he puhala, fōu nei puhala lakauhila ko mai ke whalawhalea tu, ke he whahitapu language week Niue, o e tulau ke he tamatrainanga ne he tolu, pesi ni ko laua mai he motu ka Samoa, kai whiawhia laua ke lamatai ke hata tolu a lea taongo, mo e tau whakapuroanga he tau leo Niue, ke latai me Niuean Language Week New Zealand. Whai mana tu whuki ni au whakakū, mana tu ke koe haa ne taha maka ni e whaitapu ne Language Week ai e motu a New Zealand. Ai pehe ke kua lata haa ke katoa e tau, he taha e tau, koe ngā hoa ni koe whakau Niue, post ni whaka Niue e tau post am tolu e Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, kai ua whakahau pālangi tū mau. Tō tahi whiawhia matamatrainanga, ilan tolu ko au koe tangata ang ho pisinisi, hayai ke MakaNet ki New Zealand, ke langmatai ke tau internet, pia me tau telefoni, me tau mobile on tōru, ui mai ha mga ahonoa ni ke langmatai atu, ke whiawhia lai ke langmatai ke tau mga whaoa, pia whoki ke he motu nei ko Niue ke ka niu. Just happy to be here. That was all my introduction anyway, and thank you very much.
Oh, love that.
I love it, Emani. I'm so happy that you introduced yourself in Niuean, because it is Niuean Language Week. Yeah. And MakaNet started in the beautiful island of Niue. Can you please tell us why you think it's so important that we keep the Niuean language alive?
Well, I think it's more important in this day and age because you have so much communications indirectly and directly as well. You got social media and the way that people communicate with technology. It is going to be very difficult. It already is difficult to maintain and upkeep the language the way it's supposed to be. So for our young generation that is using the tools of today, it's difficult to try to speak one's language. I know in my introduction, I was asking them, why is it that it's just 1 week of language week? Why can't we just post everything? And I was asking them, could you please post everything in Niuean for your Instagram, your TikTok, for the whole, 365 days of the year? Just have small snippets of English. If it is, then have some translations or summary of it. But try to use the technology of today to maintain the language. And other people will also continue to use it. I try to use it as much as possible. It's great to be back on Niue and continue with that. But it's something that separates a person to say, hey, I am Niuean, I can speak Niuean, and that's core to the tradition and culture and heritage of our lives, even in Samoa. I know that speaking the language is also a beautiful feeling to share with your families, especially those that are, before us and older, just to converse and have a great time talking about the old things as well. So yeah, I just love language and hope that in years to come, Niuean language and every other language there's a way of maintaining it. No one has yet written some kind of tool in this day and age to be able to capture not just our Niuean, but also our Tongan, our Samoan, like your Google Translate. So something like that. So as I'm speaking to you, it could be automatically transcribed into Niuean. So looking forward to some smart people in the world of my heritage to be able to come up with something like that.
Well, you are one of those smart people in the world, Mani.
You are.
I'm too busy. I'm already busy as it is.
I'm sure you're going to come up with something. But, going on that, talking a little bit more with regards to the language, the Niuean language is, in fact, an endangered language. It is quite sad because, I spoke with one of our producers as well, producer Ryan, who's actually Niuean, and we spoke a little bit about it last week where a familiar scene here in New Zealand, or that's quite common in churches, the Niuean churches, is where grandma will come through with the children, probably maybe 10 under, and attend the Niuean services, and the grandparents are trying so hard to teach our children the language, but then they hit a certain age and they're not interested anymore. These are some of the challenges, and I know myself, I've got so many Niuean friends, I tell you, none of them know how to speak the language, and none of them have actually been quite active, when grandma have come through to church. Mani, what has been, what are some of the challenges, that you've experienced, your personal experience when you've been trying to teach the language to your ainga? How's that been?
I think it's possibly the way the world has changed into what we find it today. They have a lot of access to information that is not necessarily coming from the one single source. So if you speak of your grandma taking the kids to church, when they leave the church, they may have heard Niuean church service and singing hymns, but when they go home, their access to information is actually not just from the grandparents. So they're not just hearing the Niuean being spoken by the grandparents. They're actually hearing all the TikTok, all the Insta, all the videos and the YouTubes that is coming from, other sources outside home. So that particular challenge has been, I guess, eroded because we are no longer just at home. Most days back in the day, I just sat at home, spoke with my family, and that was it. When you leave home, then you're able to converse with other people, to actually chat and talk either in Niuean or English or listen to them in some other language. But today, our young people, the children, immediately, as soon as they can hold an iPad or a tablet or a phone, they're looking at stuff that is not coming to them in their own language. So I think the biggest challenge is for us as language producers and content providers to be able to come up with the kind of information that we can deliver to our own little kids and youth that we can actually capture, they can capture. It's like, oh, okay, I can now speak like this because it's cool and fun, Those are some of the things that I can think of.
Mani, it's interesting because while you were saying that, we do have a young Niuean in the room behind the camera actually helping us out,
and he's
producing this, and he's nodding in his head with everything that you're saying. Now, Mani, I'm interested to know, what are the cultural challenges that you see our younger generation who don't understand or speak Niuean facing here on out?
I think it's a lot to do. The things would be the normal things that we learned as we grew up in that language scene. the cultural exchange from the grandparents and the parents to us as little ones. We actually get to live that in this day and age. The challenge would be our kids and the younger people are actually learning things off the internet, which may not necessarily come with that cultural value that, binds everything together. A good example I see, my young ones, when you ask them in a public setting, you're with the older people talking, just having a conversation, and you call out to your little one and say, hey, can you come and bring that to me? In our day and age, we would go like, too low, bow down, go right around the back of the whole group. Whereas the youngest one would just like hit straight to me through the finger, and you're like, what's going on? And every day I'm trying to express to them, like, you got to go around. And they're all asking, like, why? And I think that's the other particular, I don't know if, whatever you call it, it's that why question that a lot of the young people of today always have, is like, but why? Why is it like that? Why do I need to bend my back and go too low? Well, that's just the way it is. It's accepting. So I think you can see that in today's age and in this pandemic. Why should we do the injection? Why? It's like that's that. I think that's the challenge. So I don't know. I guess we just have to try and work through the cultural values and keep reminding them, because I see a lot of tears when it's funerals and stuff like that. It's best to say, hey, don't wait for the tears to come when your grandparents or your parents have passed on. Try and talk to them today and ask them questions as much as possible. I don't know if there is even some kind of program in New Zealand that allows for that brings out those cultural values instead of just the fun stuff that everyone is into, like the TikTok challenges. Why not allow our grandparents to come in on that surface and utilize the platforms as well?
Definitely. No, I really, and I agree with you, because I'm sitting here going, oh my gosh, I'm so guilty, because even with my children, they're quite rude, actually, if you ask me. They don't actually, they're really good kids, but you're right. It starts with the parents or whoever it is. I know too, when I walk past, it's too low, but yeah, you're right. The children, my kids, will automatically just, and I'm going to blame grandma and grandpa a bit, because they spoil their grandchildren as well. So, Mum and Dad, this is your fault as well. But you're right. I think it does start with those small things, because they have been questioning. My child, Lily, she's 9 now, and she's like, well, why do I have to say that? And you're right. I'm like, because I'm just like, you just have to. Whereas if I maybe changed my approach and said, oh, because this is how you do it, then maybe they will have a better understanding. So I'm kind of like, but TikTok sounds like a good idea, actually. Get our grandparents on it. But Mani, with language weeks that we've been celebrating every year for as long as I've known. It is an initiative that's been put together by the Ministry of Pasifika people, so I do want to make a special acknowledgement to the team. But you're right, we do need to celebrate or acknowledge the language not just once a week. So maybe we can talk to the Ministry of Pasifika people and say, hey, maybe daily words or something, to prompt us to use the language more often. And they probably are very blessed in their office, because they get to live and breathe that every single day while they're doing their work. But with each language week, Claudia and I have learned a lot about the beauty of each language and culture. Could you tell us a little bit more about the Niuean culture traditions that you believe is a standout from other cultures?
Probably the main one for Niue that everyone seems to talk about, as well as being more visible than most, would be our what is in the Aotearoa culture is the haka. Ours would be the takalo. So the takalo is a war challenge. It basically translates to "I will eat you." It comes across like that. So it's a cannibalist kind of a savagery that is beyond, words if you translate it. So I think it was written in a time when what we see today is like, you can't say those things, you can't say those words, whereas in those days now we can respect that it's just culture that you cannot change anymore. So I think that's the one thing that comes across to us. Probably for me would be the good nature of the Niuean people stands out, although that's not a culture, but I think it's a value that defines us. You might not be able to find anywhere things that comes out in media that's like, the Niueans are fighting against, say, the Samoans, or the Niueans are fighting against the Tongas, or the Niueans are fighting against the Solomon Islands, or the Niueans. It's hard to find something that puts us into a group where we're trying to attack others or fight anything. Yeah, there's going to be other kind of like, little bits and pieces, but traditionally we're not kind of a warring nation. We're a loving nation. So I think that's a great part for us here, which is enjoy the company of everyone. Our best thing is we love to laugh, and the people that I hang around with, we find a reason to laugh at others as well as ourselves.
That is so
just
true.
brings out it just brings out the joy and happiness, and everyone just can't stop laughing. And you can see that even in the younger generation, you meet up years later, and then you're still saying the same old joke that was from 10, 20 years ago, joking about the same person or the same thing that happened. It was like, can't you just forget about that? That was like way past. So I think that's probably where we're at, as well as our takihi, which is a delicacy, sliced taro and pawpaw mixed with coconut cream and baked in the oven. That's it.
Oh,
I love
yum. It sounds... Ryan just did this, which means we're getting a treat this Friday, so I can't wait. I'm giving him the eye now.
Nice.
No, we absolutely love producer Ryan, who's giving us a little bit of a hint that he's going to be dropping off a Niuean dish this Friday.
That's so true. But Emani, you are right on the money, because every single Niuean that I've met, including yourself, they are just so inviting and charming and funny. I know another good friend of mine who's Niuean, we always get her to be the MC and do all the greeting because she is hilarious. And I know that you probably have some jokes up your sleeve as well.
Even Ryan's, he's so chilled, so kicked back, and you wouldn't even like... Well, you've seen what it's like here at the Blue Wave office, dominated by Samoans, and you always have this awesome Niuean who walks in, and it's a can-do, will-do attitude, no questions asked. He just gets the work done and does it with a smile, and it's something that I'm like, oh my gosh, I want to deliver this, and he executes it very well. So. Yeah. You're right, yeah.
We've told him this many times before, but we're going to say it on live as well, that he is amazing. And every single Niuean we've met is amazing.
Yeah.
But Mani...
He'll be replaying this clip all the time.
I know. He should. I think he'll be creating a TikTok video out of this as well.
But talking about food, you did mention one dish there, but can you mention... tell us about some other Niuean dishes as well.
Coconut crab, which is uma. So our coconut crab, as crabs, they're just land-based, although they spawn into the ocean and then come back onto the land. They eat only coconuts, so you're basically just consuming coconut that's gone into a living form, and it just comes out awesome.
Oh, that sounds amazing.
It tastes nice.
Coconut infused crab.
That's the one. Our seafood called the otter. I think yours would be oka, but ours is mostly with the wahoo fish. So it's a delicacy in Niue. Some other seafood that we won't be able to export into New Zealand for other reasons. Even the una, which is the coconut crab, we can't export that out of Niue. Our coconuts. There's something about our taro as well. I've heard a lot of people in New Zealand say that the Niuean taro is so much better, and I can possibly just say that it might be due to the lack of soil in our land, because I know in Samoa and Tonga you got quite a big mixture of soil, as well as runoffs from the water and stuff. Ours is quite a lot more limestone to it, so it might have that salt and limestone, pH to it. So I'm excited and happy to say that the Niuean taro is the best taro out of all. But until you taste the Niuean taro, you haven't tasted the real one yet.
Oh, I think that is a challenge that we need to taste some Niuean taro.
And I love that. I love the food. I love talking about food. Obviously, talking about food too much during COVID. But look, I know, the food is important, but let's talk a little bit about COVID. Niue, you are located in the beautiful island of Niue. How has it been being COVID-free? Because here in Auckland, we are just dreaming of heading over to Niue right about now.
Yeah, I think it's really hard. Last year, as you know, I was living in New Zealand through all the lockdowns, and then at the end of this year, we came for our usual holiday at the end of the year, and then we tried to book our fares to come back, and we looked at the MIQ, and there was no isolation vouchers from March, and then April, and then July. So by the end of December, we just agreed that we weren't coming back to New Zealand this time around. So then we just stayed on. We just stayed here. And now to look back at New Zealand, especially Auckland, on the lockdowns, there's no lockdowns here in Niue, but I take my hat off to the private sector who are struggling. A lot of the businesses, as you know, in the Pacific depend on tourism. So there's no tourism. So we're thankful, of course, to New Zealand for allowing us the opportunity to participate in some funding, especially for the private sector. But I think people here are okay, but mindful that it could come, and eventually it will come to Niue. So the preparations have been into trying to mitigate the fact that it's going to arrive one day. Tomorrow, we're going to have our first flight back after your lockdown, which is 5-6 weeks ago. So there's been no passenger flight into Niue since then. So we have a waiting list in New Zealand to come into Niue. So there's only like 26 passengers, I think, or 24 coming on the flights this week. So we have a weekly, every second week flight now that is geared up to bring the people back home who came down to New Zealand for medical reasons, for funerals, just work and bits and pieces, who found themselves locked out of Niue. So it's great to be here in New Zealand. Last year, I was looking at my family's posts on Facebook and everyone else's Facebook pages, and they were all like just having fun. And I'm like, oh man, here we are locked in New Zealand, and you're driving down the road and it looks like zombie land. There's like only one car passing you every, so many kilometers, and you're wondering, are those people going somewhere? So things like that. And now that I'm here, I'm always thinking about the days when I was in New Zealand, looking across it at people over here. So yesterday was our show day, which is like a fair in remembering our 47th year of self-government, which is like independence, in free association with New Zealand. So on Tuesday is our actual flag raising to celebrate. So 19th of October 1974 was when that was signed. So we're going to be enjoying a whole week of festivities and, dances and performances and canoe raising. Just the other day was like fishing competitions There's going to be rugby league held and a lot of darts being played, just a whole lot of food consumed. So that's another thing to go
like
for.
you're rubbing like lemon into my wound.
This flight that's heading over, does it include hosts? Because I'm pretty sure someone is happy to sponsor myself and Claudia to head over and help you guys celebrate in the festivities this week. But Mani, if you can, please send us some photos of the events, especially the food.
Yes.
Well, we'll do. But, the people will still arrive on the flights, but they still have 14 days in quarantine. So there's a lot of safety issues gone into it. On this particular one, they have said that there's going to be no visitors at all. The visitors that used to go and visit in the quarantine areas could be, there were 2 gates, 2 meters apart. So families could sit on the outside and talk to the people on the inside of the quarantine zone. On this time around, they're saying that there's going to be no visitors at all for 14 days. So everyone is being vigilant. They don't want the illness to arrive in Niue. As you know, our island is 1,600 people, so very limited health support in terms of what can be done. So we're trying to work in terms of how could we make it work that we survive this period and get to the part where there is no COVID at all in Niue, because we don't want your lockdowns. You can keep your lockdowns out there.
No, and I wouldn't wish them upon you either, Mani.
No, seriously.
So you keep it, and then which is have our open, island style kind of typical lifestyle. Just free fall, just relax, and keep eating as well. So lots of
say
eating.
no more, Mani. Please say no more. But Mani, I feel like my following question might have to do with your with the Niuean culture, the Niuean values. But I'm going to ask it anyway. MakaNet. You are the CEO and founder of MakaNet, and MakaNet was and is the very first Pacific internet service provider in New Zealand. What was it that helped you and motivated you to break into the West?
If I was to be truthful, it would be timing. So I think it's a God time as well. So I believe my faith is strong in that it was the moment to go when you do know that it's time. It's time. I had come to New Zealand. So previously, as a background, just a short snippet, I come from Niue, and I've been doing internet services since 1999. So that's my background, mostly in wireless and satellite. When I arrived in New Zealand for a personal reason, not to stay, and then I was, just continued to live there. And then I got bored, and the next best thing that I knew what to do was let's get into internet services. So I actually went across. So this MakaNet is my second ISP in New Zealand. So my other one I co-founded with some other Kiwis, and that was delivering satellite services to rural and remote homes within New Zealand. Something that I wanted to bring to the Pacific homes in New Zealand, but obviously the majority of our people are in Auckland, mostly into the South Auckland area, and none of them needed satellite services. So after working with them for a while, I left that business, and then I immediately came to talk to Laura, because my questions to almost everyone that I could find that I knew who knew everyone in Pacific business, I was asking them, who's a Pacific business provider, or who's providing services of this nature? Who's the telco that's Pacific owned? And they said none, because I wanted to work with them, offer my services and experience from 20 so years. So when visiting Laura at the hub, I said, hey, maybe it's an opportunity that, start one for the Pacific. And there grows MakaNet, and it came to being. My first customer is thankfully to Laura, still going. Thanks, Laura. That's it. I told her that Emani was a good name for a baby, but obviously, maybe this is not right. But
nice try, Emani. Nice try.
It just seemed like a good moment. All the things came into alignment. In other cultures, they would say the stars lined up, and that was the moment. So for me, it was the turning point in my part of life that I created that, and it just so happened that we were first, and just so humble to be a Niuean, to be first on the list of being a telco provider in New Zealand. A good friend of mine who's from Fiji, he's also now doing satellite to home and rural and remote, and so that's our second internet service provision company in New Zealand. So we're punching above our weight in delivering all these services. So we focus mostly now into homes. One of our programs that started and stemmed out of COVID last year, I saw difficult parts of families being locked down. And, we are very communal. We love to have that community exchange and sharing and being together. But we found ourselves locked in, couldn't share with anyone. And now you got no internet. So basically, I went to some of these organizations and I said, look, we as MakaNet could help them. Put them online for 6 months. Would you be willing to subsidize or pay for their services? So we've been engaging with them, and thankful also to the guys at PMN who were able to roll out a month worth of that awareness program. We were able to connect people who are not able to provide for themselves to connect fiber into their homes, so that they themselves as parents and the children and the extended family who are now living in a house could be able to, communicate and share the TikTok to everyone, and be able to go on your church services and still talk to everyone. So you're not having that sort of like, oh man, the inhibitions and like I'm locked out of here. Whereas now you're going to be like, hey, I'm still here and I'm still exchanging. So I think that's a lot of the things that, is happening in New Zealand. I'm really blessed and fortunate to be able to be in that space to provide for our people. And people say, oh, you should open up to, having others other than Pacific Islanders. I say, but you have 100 providers fighting over that segment.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm only wanting to provide for our people, because when other providers come to our people, they say, oh, we can provide for you and this and that, but then they don't actually tell you what is the quiet language or the little footnotes that says this is, you can't back out of it until you give them, say, 6 months worth or a month worth of exit that you want to leave them. And if you wanted to leave them early, you have to pay them so many dollars. So for me, it's like a way of, I'm just bringing my understanding and passion of delivering a service and offering that to our people. Now, I'm just thankful to the businesses, the churches, especially our families and friends who have joined MakaNet. And as of June of this year, we were able to step up and be a mobile provider to our people. So in this lockdown alone, we have hardly connected anyone on fiber. The majority of our connections are now on mobile, because it's so much easier to drop off a SIM card and the person connects straight away, compared to Chorus can't build your fiber to your house, or you're needing a consent from someone who owns the house. So those issues have been pushed away slightly, because we now have other services that we're able to help people. So always glad to be able to help others. So yeah. Sorry to take that a long way.
No.
I love that, and I love how you were talking about how you see an area that is lacking, and you get in there and you do your magic. And you're first at being the first Pacific internet service provider, and you're Niuean, and it also reminds me of another brilliant Niuean, Janita Polisi, who was also the very first Pacific woman to be elected onto the National Party board. Are you her cousin? That explains a lot, because you guys are so both funny.
I do love that, and it is
running the family, intelligent.
It must. So can you? No, just kidding. And we're just going back onto the whole Western market and how you've cracked it, and you're right. we've mentioned it before, and we spoke about it a little bit before as well, because the new thing when you go over to anyone's house, because you would understand as a Pacific, the new hello is, oh, bro, what's your Wi-Fi password, bro? Hey, what's your Wi-Fi?
Yeah.
So, and that's it. And because you know and you are familiar that this is a common thing. So, and when we're gathering in any Pacific gathering, you know, whether it's birthdays, you can guarantee that there's going to be 200 people logged into that internet service. And I remember you saying that with MakaNet, it's only going to be that for that time that family is going to be fighting over that internet, but that service is still going to be like number one. Whereas if you're connected with other service providers, you're going to get that lag, because I kind of get that lag here, and I've been complaining a lot about it. But again, we're locked into a contract that we can't get out of at the moment. So, but never mind. Look, Mani, we are absolutely, you know, honoured to have, you know, one of our sponsors who always supports us, you know, with our internet and you name it. I'm sure Claudia and I will get hooked up with a mobile phone soon from you.
You better hurry up.
But look, we absolutely was truly grateful that you've made the time to be our first Niuean guest to open up our Niuean Language Week here on BluTable Talanoa and BLU TV. Look, we all know that you have done an amazing job here in the community of New Zealand, providing the internet service to some vulnerable families as well. But during this time, we are going to wrap up, so I'm going to let you finish off the show. And do you have any final words or words of encouragement for our viewers today?
Whailai matamatay na nga pesa hindi ko hokomay tutul kito mga ke mafehe ke to la khauhila pe nei kai mana tu atu ke motu nei ni we ke motu na am tolu ni silani amana kini ke more to ngao ke rea mo fakalialia nei kare mai ke am tolu ke fewaki mo fakafita ke am tolu tang huanga ne kwa amana ki ke to tai fia matamatay na mo mamata tu ke am tolu to fonga ke to wa ku nei mo ka mai ke am tolu ke ni mai ke motu to tolu ko ni we nei ke whekaia ke tau unga, me tau talo, me tau takihi, me inue tau fua niu kua whana mai makariri ke malolo e hamtula tau sino. I'd just like to say thank you guys. Thanks very much for this opportunity to, you know, speak my language in honor of our Niuean Language Week in New Zealand. Hopefully, perhaps you guys could do like a day each per language out of your podcast segment, and just in support of so many other languages, not just ours, but truly grateful for the opportunity that you're giving for the Niue Language Week. Thanks very much for everything, and hope to see you guys in Niue. All the food I will be eating for you guys.
Thank you so much, Emani, and don't you worry, honestly, after this band night, we are going to be recording some phrases and some word of the days for Niuean Language Week. So hopefully, especially me, hopefully I get the pronunciation correct by Emani. It's been an absolute honor and pleasure having you on the show. You know, your attitude and your personality is so infectious, and you know, I'm just looking forward to meeting you in real life. And yes, please do make the most of the beach and all the lovely food that you have described. But for everyone that's watching, guys, go onto Facebook and do follow MakaNet and keep up to date with all the amazing things and deals that they have going on. So thank you again, Emani, and thank you to everyone that tuned in today, and we will see you again tomorrow.
God bless everyone.
Thank you.
O le whaamama awenga le nei ma le Pacific Isi, mo au tupe whaamumoli Samoa, au tapu ni ai ofisa mo le whaawa yaso. Whaonga nei lolna wa unanga forward ta ua, o le direct transfer. A whai wa yesau membership card ma e whaonga ina le internet banking, o le matua i whaingo fia lava. Na o le tipose mai lava lau se leni mato account, o le whaatino leo la foina o lau se leni mo a inga i Samoa. E ia inga i tahu na whaamalia ina, mo nisi whaamatalanga i le nei au nanga fo. Wala au le telefoni o walu se lau o tasi o nono, po le lua fitu ono fitu iwa fitu wha. Pe text mai fo ilo suafa i le valu tolu o.
Talofa BluTable voucher is one of the most convenient ways that I'm finding now to do my shopping here at Farmer Joe, and my sister just sent through the voucher on my cell phone, and I just come straight here to Farmer Joe to do my shopping.
O le si tūranga pitusili o le tāua. O le lafo mea o le pepa tala o loa. O na whaanga le whaatau i o loa e au ngā mo le ainga.
I think it's really convenient for families overseas if they don't know how to help their families here. Then this is the perfect way.
Mai ai le sa sunga fua tau e lesi asa sa.
Le fia foi sa we mo mawina le foi au ngā fo e ala mai le talo for voucher. Le wana whaakau ma me te mga oi ile voucher.
Tai mo le talo pa voucher ua maua le apasusi o sewa fine. So se paro loa whaingo fie a me se le te wherua i mana o telefoni tai mi uma. Ai lo le lafo me le cash o na inu e leo tamao le ainga.
Whaatea tu lava le talo for voucher mo le foi au ngā fo whaatai. Ma lua lava le taumpai.
Tai talo pa voucher. Teki talo pa voucher.
Tau tua ma le au nanga le maut tau sa mo service station nei tona i matu. Ma tau te utuina lo ta vale ma le tele o nisi o matu au nanga i se ese. Ai le ngata foi le ma tau te sia ke ina fo i lo ta vale. Siapa lah yang voice wow, mau lah ucapan. Apa itu yang baik Pak Olusa? Awalnya telepon, matu siapa lah yang voice mau lah ucapan. Mulu no posible fia, mua, tapi lau tak vale Pea out. Nua, tapi lau telefon ni time out tu inai lau tak vale. Malah baenga mulu. Mana tua fo? E matua I whasa aina, lo tau maktapa ai no fuanga whapengi. Mota Samoa, ore mota mo Samoa. Mato te fia e au na pea mo o Samoa. Haftaile fia mai. We'll see you again. God bless.